We are back with another episode of The Gentlemen's Department, the #1 men's podcast. So glad to have you back. Yes, we have another great episode tonight. Man, just as these weeks continue to progress and I'm getting further and further into our catalog, so many things are starting to come to me as far as like ideas and concepts. But one in particular is mindset. Mindset is very important. And just understanding that there are things that we were forced to learn growing up. I'm realizing there are so many things that we have to unlearn. We have to basically rewire our mind, the way we think, the way we even were taught to learn. We weren't necessarily taught organically. We were basically force-fed many things that was just passed down, which is typical. That's usually how generations on generations of culture is passed down. You know, you pass one thing down from generation to generation. Was it always right? No. There were some things that did stick that were helpful and beneficial, but there were more that hindered. Some things in particular we're going to be touching on tonight. Mindset, how we're taught to perceive ourselves, how we're taught to think and think about ourselves. Certain words that we were taught, even down to who to believe in, our religion. There's so many different areas we could touch on, but we're only going to touch on 2 to 3 tonight. We're going to keep it just for the sake of time. Now, growing up, many of us, I'm going to speak from my experience, coming from a black family and black folks, we were taught whatever you learn, you don't question the parents because they have your best interest at heart, best interest in mind, right? So you're not taught to look things up or challenge any ideals. You just say, okay, well, my parents, they wouldn't, they want what's best for me. They wouldn't steer me wrong, right? In most cases, the parents were just doing what they thought was right. The majority of the time, what was passed down to them, or how they wanted to change opposite from how they were raised, right? And that's normal. That's normal. If a parent was raised in a household where it was chaos and dysfunction, there were cases where the parent wanted to be the total opposite. and want it to be peaceful. Other cases, they continue the chaos and the dysfunction. They just passed it on down. And that's why we got the sexy reds and the Caricias and all that city girls, that hot girl summer. But that's why all of that is here now. Because it's behaviors that's just passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. Now, we're going to take this word that I've heard so much growing up. I even hear it to this day. Don't think too highly of yourself. You need to be humble. Humble yourself. How many of us, we've heard that word humble? How many still hearing that word to this day? Humble. Little do you know, that word humble, it's not all what it's cracked up to be. It's not all what you think it is. It's not what it's perceived to be. No. Humble, 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 humble. We got to get back to reading the definition of words. We've gotten in the habit of changing words, flipping words, taking a word and flipping its meaning. Oh, she bad. Bad is not a good thing, but we'll take the word bad and say a chick is bad. She looks good. Bad means good. As a culture, as blacks, we take a lot of things, negatives, and turn them into positives. That's just what we do. That's just what we do. But we have to, in this day and time, we have to take things for face value. We have to take things literally. We got to get back in that dictionary and look up what these words mean. Humble. Let's read that. Let's read that. Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. That sound like a sucker to me. That don't sound like I'm like I'm confident in myself. That doesn't sound like I'm confident in myself. That's not what that sounds like to me. That doesn't sound like a confident person to me. Having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. Humble. This is what was taught to us. This is what we were taught. This is what we were taught to present ourselves as. Not confident. Oh, you too cocky. You need to humble yourself. You want to know what the antonym, the opposite of humble is? Proud. Holy. Listen. Proud. There's a black artist, an all-time great. He was around during the time of when it was still segregation, toward the end. James Brown. He had an anthem We call them anthems now. Back then, he had a song called I'm Black and I'm Proud. He had every black person singing, yelling, chanting that song, being proud to be black. Do you think they would have got to where they got to, got past segregation, made it past all of that Jim Crow, made it past all of that, being humble? Absolutely not. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's be real. Being humble does not get you results. Why is it wrong for me to be proud of who I am? My culture, my ethnicity, my last name, my intelligence. Come on. We can really get deep into this because that stems from somewhere. That comes from somewhere. That comes from someone trying to diminish your character, diminish who you are. Make sure your mind is kept at a small level to where you don't believe and be proud of yourself, confident in yourself. Humble. We got to get back to reading these definitions. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody's got access. You hear a word? Look it up. You don't know how to look? You don't know how to spell it? Ask Siri. She'll look it up for you. Come on. Unlearn. Even when it comes to religion, so many of us are just passed down with our mothers, with our grandmothers, great grandmothers, whatever they were taught, we were taught that too. We were never taught to look outside and to explore and to actually understand other religions, other ideas. We were always taught anybody that studies anything other than what we believe in anything that we believe in, those other people, they going to hell. Little do they know that if you look in the Bible, they read this passage of scripture that talks about the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel, they were trying to build a structure so high that they could get to God. They wanted to be close to God. They wanted to get to God. They wanted to see God. However they was building those structures back in the day, we have no idea. We don't know how they was doing it, but they was doing it. And they would get pretty successful. And the Lord had to go ahead and shut that on down. No, they doing too much. Hold on. They're getting up there. Hold on. Let's go ahead and shut that on down. Language has changed. Wait a minute. Now we was just all speaking the same language when we was just up in here working together, getting this thing up here. Now I don't even understand what my man is saying. Bro, what you talking about? What is he saying? What you saying? Everybody spread apart. Everybody went their own way. If you look in everybody's religion, there is similar stories. There are similar stories. Names might be different, but there are similar stories. And you learn this when you start venturing out and you start communicating with different people from different cultures. That's why it's always good to meet different people. It's not always good to just stick with your own. If you stick with your own, all you're going to know is your own. And that's in anything that you think about. Whether it's church, whether it's your ethnic group, whether it's even in business. In order to do better and be bigger in business, you have to branch out. That's just how human life is. If you want to do better, you have to branch out you have to branch out. But we weren't taught that. There's so many things that we missed. There's so many things that we missed on just for not branching out, just sticking to what we know. And what we know was wrong. A lot of it was wrong. But a lot of us, we don't want to do the research. We don't want everything that we learned from back in the day to be wrong. We scared of it for some reason. We scared of change. Why? I have no idea. It's okay. It's okay to learn something new. It's okay to discover that what I learned and what I was taught was wrong. It's okay. We're never going to learn or know everything. Never. It's not possible. But as long as you're on this earth, it's always good to make sure that you're learning more. You're talking to different people. You're seeing different POVs, points of views, perspectives. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go ahead and change religions, change views. Not that. You don't necessarily have to do that if you don't want to. But looking at people, looking down on people because they don't have the same belief systems or thoughts as you, that's wrong. And many of us was taught that it's only one way. If you think that way, what makes you think that the other religions, the other ethnicities, the other backgrounds, they're not having the same thought process? So everybody in their own group think that they right and everybody else is wrong. Confusion. When all we have to do is allow everyone to live. You have your thought process. You have what you live by. Fine. I have my thought process and how I live by, and that's fine. I have my religion, you have yours, and that's fine. No. That's why it's a lot going on right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We're not going to speak on it right here. We're not going to talk about that right here. But that situation that's going on right now, conflict. Listen, a simple conversation. If human beings understood and could get this concept that a human being is a human being, we're all one species, we're all one. Just because we look different, we speak different, we all bleed the same. Treat each other with love and respect. Get out them folks' business. Until someone starts being disrespectful, start harming you, putting you and your loved ones at risk, that's a different story. But if we can get things resolved through a conversation, destroying others, killing others. Come on, man. We know that that's not the way to go. It's a continued cycle, just been passed down from generation to generation. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to go back and say, you know what? My ancestors were wrong on this one. Our bad. Let's fix this. We got to stop it at some point in time. No. Too much ego. Too much ego, too much pride. It's a lot that we have to unlearn. We have to rewire this mind. We have to retrain our thought process, the way we view life. A lot of it is cloudy. A lot of it is wrong. It's wrong. It's just straight up wrong. But here at the Gentlemen's Department, we're going to strive to rewire, unlearn, and figure things out. We're going to move better. We're going to operate better than the last generation and leave a lasting impression on the future generation. Influence with value. Okay? Influence with value. Now, before we get up out of here, I just want to thank everybody once again for tuning in, taking time out of your busy day, your busy schedule. Stop by, kick it with your mans. Appreciate y'all so much for all the continued support throughout the week. Views is going up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're looking all right. Just cracked 100, over 100 on both IG and TikTok. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. We still working on YouTube. But we gonna get there. Appreciate the people that shared content last week. I really do appreciate that. Please continue to do so. Continue to show that love. Love y'all very much. We're gonna get up out of here. Not gonna hold you too much longer. Listen, have a great week this week. Listen, get to that bag. Money out there. Stay focused. All right. We in the fourth quarter. You already know what time it is. So we're gonna stay focused. We're gonna keep at it. We're gonna finish this year off strong and get ready for 2024. But until then, you already know. Come on, gentlemen. It's time. Now go be great.